Hi guys, I want to take this time to show you how to work with a Terraform provider. When we are working with a Terraform provider is the plugins that the Terraform uses to configure your infrastructure. So, for example, if I create a file here on this file, I'm going to call it provider.tf. Okay? And within this provider.tf, I just specify my provider. And I say an example provider is AWS. And I just leave it like this. Now, if I run Terraform in it, as you realize in this provider block, I haven't passed any argument. I haven't passed any region. I haven't passed any access key. But when I run Terraform in it to initialize, I see that my Terraform is initializing. Okay? Terraform is going to the registry and it's downloading this HashiCorp AWS plugin and version, which is the latest version, 5.773. So Terraform is using my default settings. It is using the default settings for the provider. Now, if I create a resource, right, using this provider, because I didn't specify a region and I didn't specify any credentials, Terraform is going to use my default credentials. Where does it find the default credentials? If I do AWS configure, I'll see that I have my default credentials that I had already set. This command helps you set your default AWS credentials. So if I had an access key, I'll specify it right there. But right now, if I just click enter, I already have one set. But I also see that I have a default region set here as US West 2. So this is my default region. So if I use this provider without any region specified, then it just means that whatever resources are going to be provisioned, they are going to be provisioned in my default region, which is US West 2. Okay? US West 2. So because of that, Terraform will use your default setting if no arguments have been passed to this particular provider. Now, let's say we had a Terraform block. We specified a specific, then again, I like doing this. Let's say I specify, I have my Terraform block. Within that Terraform block, I pass my required providers, okay, and these required providers, I specify something like AWS, AWS as a required provider. So now once I specify AWS as a required provider, with the version, right, with the version number. So let me see, let me just copy this provider from one of these projects. Okay, cluster. So let me say my provider, and I just copy this provider. If I copy that provider and I replaced it right here, that's so if I did this, I'm specifying the required provider. Okay, so let's say I specify my required provider here to be version 4. Okay, to be 4. Now, if I run Terraform init right now, Terraform init, it initialized and it created for me this Terraform lock. Okay, this Terraform lock, the version is 5.73. Okay, but I've gone ahead and now specified a Terraform block with a required provider, and I've specified that I need AWS. The source is that, but the version is now 4.00, 4.0. Okay, tilde greater than 4.0. So what that means is that now if I run Terraform init, this is going to give me an error. Okay, if I try to initialize it, right, it is going to give me an error. Why? It say it failed to query available provider plugin. Why? Because I already have my Terraform lock set. That plugin that was downloaded was version 5.7, but now I'm trying to change it. So how Terraform works is that if your lock file already exists, if the plugin has already been downloaded, Terraform will not try to re-download it. It will try to reuse the lock file and the plugin that was already downloaded, because you have a dependency lock file. Now, because of this, it is going to give you an error because I changed my provider, but I already had my Terraform lock already created and my plugin downloaded. So what you need to do is, if you make any changes to your provider, right, after you had initialized it, then you need to upgrade it, right? So to resolve this, you need to upgrade. So we will run, I'll recall the command, then we will do -upgrade. So once we upgrade it, what we are trying to do is we are trying to upgrade our Terraform log file so that it upgrades it or downgrades it from 5.7 to now our version 4. Yeah. So with that, if I open my log file, now I'll see that now the version in the log file has been downgraded to this particular constraint. Okay. So this is how we are able to work with Terraform providers and resolve the error that has to do with our provider plugin. So just remember, anytime you modify your plugin or you change your settings within your plugin, then you will have to initialize. But initializing, you'll have to initialize with the upgrade option so that you upgrade your log file. Otherwise, that is the only way to resolve this error. Right? I hope you guys enjoyed the video. So send me some questions if you have, and again, subscribe to my channel, WemaDevOps.com. Thanks, man.